Hello, my name is Evan, and I'm here to talk about the process of impeachment, specifically regarding the impeachment of a U.S. president. So, as we know, everything regarding government and politics is usually a process, and it's usually a painstakingly long one. However, most, if not all, the citizens of our country aren't very familiar with this process, and more importantly, they do not know what it actually means. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So, let's start off and look at the definition of the word impeachment. The definition of the word: a charge of misconduct made against the holder of a public office, or the action of calling into question of the integrity or validity of something. Pretty easy, right? Well, in our government's case, it really is not that easy. The government recognizes impeachment as treason, bribery, or other high crimes or misdemeanors. So let's be real here. Every president is probably guilty of bribery at some point in their 4-year term. So all these definitions, each definition is relatively the same, and they all have one thing in common. It is a pretty broad term. So let's look at the history of impeachment. 3 U.S. presidents have been formally impeached by our Congress. These 3 include Andrew Johnson, Bill Clinton, and most recently Donald Trump. We should feel lucky to witness history before our eyes. Donald Trump is the only U.S. president to have been impeached twice. So, way to go. Richard Nixon came extremely close to impeachment for his involvement in the infamous Watergate scandal. However, he resigned before any real damage was done. Now, to any viewer of this video, I am not trying to offend your intelligence. However, studies show that the majority of Americans truly don't understand what impeachment means. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that you're one of those Americans. Because honestly, if you knew what impeachment truly meant, then you would not have clicked on this video. So a study done in 2019 showed that 54% of Americans said they thoroughly knew what impeachment meant, although only 30% of that 54% had actually correctly defined the term. 13% of people said it means the president is removed from office completely. 5% said it means an official is censured. 28% said they frankly just didn't know. 6% said that none of the options given to them were actually accurately reflection of what the definition of impeachment actually means. And 7% said that it is a trial of criminal proceedings. So, if we're being real here, it is extremely difficult for someone to be formally impeached, and it is kind of meant to be that way. You're going to see why in a second, because I'm going to explain the entire process to you so you can thank me later. This process all starts in the House with a formal inquiry of impeachment. This is when a member of the House sees an act done by the president that could be seen as misconduct. So now, this is a pretty broad term, but if it's one of those situations where you know it when you see it. So after this, the House takes a vote, and all they need is a simple majority, or 1/3 to the House, to impeach the president. Now hold your horses, because this doesn't mean that the president is actually out of job. Certain responsibilities, actions of the president are taken away. So let's look at Donald Trump. Second impeachment, for example. The reason behind this impeachment wasn't the removal from office, as during the trial he didn't even hold the position of President of the United States. Some members of government wanted to impeach him for different reasons, such as limiting his ability to participate in next year's election, to hold any post-presidential powers, such as a pension. If the U.S. government really wants to kick a president out of D.C., they go to the Senate. Within the Senate is an impeachment trial again, where 2/3 of the vote is required to actually vote a president out of the office. Andrew Johnson is the only one to have come very close to this, as he was only 1 vote away from being booted. The full removal of the president is incredibly hard. Now, we should think about this for a second. Why is it so difficult? Well, with the 2-party system in our country, along with the 2-section of Congress, the House and the Senate, there is always a disagreement. For example, Donald Trump was a Republican. The House was majority Democrat, with the Speaker being Nancy Pelosi. The Senate, however, was held by Republicans at the time. So the inquiry for impeachment was fast and easy throughout the House, as they wanted Mr. Trump to give up his certain rights as he was president. The removal of president, however, was the ultimate goal, but it could never be achieved due to the Senate being controlled by Republicans who backed Trump because he was a Republican. They would not allow their Republican president to be kicked out of office, so the 2/3 vote would never happen. Realistically, a president being kicked out of office is an incredibly hard task. In Trump's case, he was being tossed back and forth from the Senate and the House, with never being fully impeached. With the Senate being with the House being all Democrats, they wanted him out, but it would never happen just because of the sole fact the Senate was Republican. This will continue with any other U.S. president who comes into office, as long as he has the full support of one of the two sections of Congress. This is the definition of a process, and it's not a very easy one.